Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Carlisle, and I teach biology, and bandwidth is at a premium, so at my house right now with everyone on Zoom, so I am keeping my video off.
No problem.
My name is Sean Reese.
Go ahead, Sean.
I'm Sean Reese. I teach chemistry. I'll turn it over to Min.
Hi, this is Min Den. I teach math.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Wool. I'm one of the counselors, specifically work with student athletes.
Hi, Matthew.
Hey, there's my friend.
I'm Mark Knutson, chemistry.
Hi, Mark.
Celia Hall. I'm an adjunct librarian. And sorry, I'm not on video today. I'm multitasking.
That's okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm Steve McDowell. I teach chemistry.
Welcome. I think we just have a couple. I don't think I heard from Alma or Celia or Brandy yet.
This is Alma Mejia. I'm with the library. I've been at CRC for 16 years and with the District 21.
Wow. Anybody else want to go?
Pamela Whitehead. Excuse me. Pamela Whitehead, and I teach art history courses at CRC.
Great. Welcome, Pamela. Okay, so I will go ahead and get started with the presentation. Obviously, this is interactive. You can stop me and ask questions whenever you need to. There are a few of you that did attend last semester this Flex presentation, and I'm glad you came back because we do have some changes. At the end of the fall, I did take a survey of our students who were enrolled in tutoring services. I wanted to get a feel as to what their thoughts were with the platform that we tried. We did try a tutoring platform. It was designated for tutoring. We went away from Zoom to try it because that's what it was sort of built for. When it was all said and done at the end of the semester, all the tutors, 90% of the tutors and 60% of the students voted that they would like to go back to utilizing Zoom. And so that's one major change for the spring. We are going to go back to Zoom. I'm not going to continue to push something that isn't preferred. And so we're okay with that. Students were used to Zoom. They like Zoom, right? Their classes are in Zoom. The other thing is the platform that we were trying to utilize, it was not always user-friendly. So there was a lot of technical difficulties. And because we were using a third-party sort of vendor and platform, you can imagine them getting tech support right on hand wasn't easy. And so things would get delayed. And of course, tutors and students would get frustrated because their screen sharing wasn't working or they couldn't upload a document. And those are major pieces, right, when you're trying to do tutoring. So we just said, hey, no point of pushing something that isn't working as, ideally as we'd like. So we are going to be back on Zoom. And that's all of the tutoring services that I'm going to be referring to today. We're all using Zoom, which makes the sort of the experience much more consistent, for the students. So we're all going to be on Zoom, which is major plus. So let me go ahead and share my screen and start the presentation.
So Rihanna, that doesn't have to do with the net tutor yet, though. You're talking about just the in-house, the CRC.
Exactly.
Right?
Thank you. All the in-house tutoring services will all be via Zoom. Net tutor, you'll still have to use the net tutor link to access them. But yes, all of our in-house programs. So did you know, this is one of our largest updates. For the spring, the Math Center, the Reading and Writing Center, the Accounting Lab, the Tutoring Center, we've all sort of joined forces to streamline our services for the spring. And what that means, really the biggest change is again, we're all going to be on Zoom. Secondly, there's no lab enrollment requirement. So any of you that have been around for any length of time, even I, who've only been here for about 1.5 years, when I started Math and Reading Writing Center, you did have an enrollment requirement to utilize the services. For this spring, we are offering all the services to students with no enrollment requirement, no lab enrollment requirement, I guess, just to specify. And part of the reason why we did this is, well, utilization was way down, especially for our math center and our reading writing center. The numbers really tanked being in this remote environment. And so we had all these great math faculty, English faculty, IAs and tutors sort of sitting around and not supporting very many students, which is sort of a disservice. We don't know how much of a role, the enrollment in the lab was playing, but it really all could just be, again, being remote, just the services being a little bit more harder to get a hold of. And so we are all offering our services through the same Canvas shell. You can access it through the same Canvas shell, which I'll talk about in a minute. But students still have the option to enroll in those labs that are associated with the RWC and the Math Center if they would like to still earn units. Does that make sense? So for students who are like, I still want to earn units, then they can still sign up for those labs and get credit and get actual credit posted to their transcripts for those labs or for those centers. But if not, they can all have access to all these great folks for the Math Center, Reading Writing Center, Accounting Lab, Tutoring Center, all without a requirement of paying a little fee for a lab. Anybody have a question or comment about that?
So Rihanna, what happens to the funds that came from the enrollment fees? How are these tutoring centers functioning without those funds?
So good question. So that was a conversation we all had, math, RWC, deans, myself, the supervisors, we all sort of talked about it. And there are a few different things, and I'm gonna keep it short because nobody could really track where those funds were going. And so because money was getting sort of sent back to the college or the district and then divvied out, there was conversations about what effect that's gonna have. But the good thing is we can still collect apportionment. And so the Math Center, the RWC, or the Math Center wasn't collecting apportionment. The RWC was collecting apportionment, Tutoring Center. We can all still collect those funds because we're still going to track it through HCD 1000, which is supervised tutoring. That's the no credit, no cost course that students are enrolled in when they want to access tutoring services. So it's not a lab. It's not, you don't have to pay for it. You just enroll in it. Then we can track everyone who's utilizing the service and still submit all those names for apportionment. So we don't lose apportionment at all. What we're essentially losing is whatever those funds were for what the students were paying for that portion of a credit for the lab. Now, again, that's above my pay grade, but we did talk to all those above my pay grade about that effect. And we all sort of decided we want to give it a try because, again, numbers have, I'm not exaggerating, numbers have tanked over the years. And serving 40 students, 50 students and then some of them failing a lab, failing the RWC and the Math Center. It wasn't ideal and we weren't feeling like it was supporting the students in the way that it should have. We want to see more students succeeding and not failing a half a credit for the Math Center and the RWC. So it's a good question, but we did tackle all those pieces and all those above me still gave the green light for us to try this route.
Thank you, Rihanna. That answers my question because I guess for some reason I thought that those funds were a big part of the pot, but it sounds like no, there are many other parts. So thank you.
Yes. And we're keeping the faculty, so we're not losing any of sort of the heart of those programs. We're keeping the faculty still engaged and involved. We're still keeping the IAs. Nothing changes in that respect. The only thing that's changing right now is us requiring the students to enroll in a lab and make sure they earn all those hours and then, them getting credit or no credit for it. That's the piece that's removed because we were feeling like it was a barrier.
I have a question, Rihanna. So I was thinking for students who do choose to enroll in Math Center units, what I'm thinking is some of them might need it, right, to get to a certain load level, course load level. So other than that, what other reason, I'm trying to think, maybe you can help me, but what other reasons do you think students would enroll other than they just maybe want it on their transcript, but is there anything else And I guess I have a two-part question. So that one, and then because we've had in the past when they were enrolling that that was a problem too, and enrolling in Mass Center just for the units, right? They would, I think we have a cap of half a unit or even a unit, and we still have students enrolling in 2 units of lab, and they're not fulfilling that necessarily. So,
Right.
you know, we want to, and we want to have that open too. I think we're really glad that it's open,
Right.
but we also just want to, you know, I don't know. It was being abused for a while, but I think now that with the low enrollment, maybe it's not.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't know what other incentive it would be, but we have been careful to not use that verbiage on the website where, you know, if you need to complete your load, because really we have always said, don't do it to complete your load, because folks are doing that and then not completing the hour requirement and then not getting the credit. And then it's a whole mess, right? And so we didn't word it that way. We just worded it, you know, as you probably have seen, you know, if you would still like the option of enrolling in the lab for credit, you can do so. And I think the part of it too is, and God bless our counselors, we love them, but some of them were encouraging it in that way. And so it's going to take a while for us to sort of backtrack from, ooh, the RWC and the Mass Center is an option to fulfill your load.
Right.
So,
yeah. Okay.
And you said you had a second question.
Re-educating.
Right. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I guess in the past it made sense because, sorry, as the counselor here, I might as well chime in. So in the past it made sense because there was a separate place on campus we could send them to where they could meet with special tutors, right? And so suggesting students go to the math lab or the writing center was, I think, a great idea. Now that everything's kind of morphed into what we're seeing for spring, I would assume when we get back on campus, that's going to go back to where it was before. But so, yeah, there was an incentive, because that's really the only incentive, because these units, they don't apply to associate degrees anyway, or transfer. So they're not going to help a student in any way, even if it doesn't matter if you pass them or don't pass them. It has nothing to do with pass, no pass. Like, so
yeah.
Other than the fact that you get credit, I mean, the credit goes nowhere. So that from that standpoint, it's weird to me. It only helps as far as enrollment, units, total units, right? And funding.
Exactly. What I was going to say was the big thing was the financial aid. Folks were doing it to complete their load in order to qualify for financial aid. And that's what we sort of want to.
But that, again, that has nothing to do with affecting anything at the local level. That's a federal money. That's federal money that students can qualify for. So we should not have an opinion either way. Why would we care if a student qualifies for federal aid from the government? I mean, that,
yeah. And I think
a negative for us.
Yeah. And again, I think it was always in the writing in the Mass Center RWC to don't use it to complete your load, because if you don't actually get the credit for it. So if you don't pass it, and I don't know what all happens right at the end, but students weren't passing it. And that's where we were having issues, because they were using it to complete their load and then not actually getting the units for it. But we can, I should move on from that.
I don't mean to get too into that. You know, it would be a negative if students just added and never showed up to the math lab. Like that would
exactly. And that's what folks were doing. Those are the folks that we were worried about. Those folks that weren't getting credit.
Well, one of the things, and I'll just chime in real quick, was that students were enrolling in a Mass Center and a lab and weren't passing it. And then with the non-repeatability that was that came down, if they had to repeat that math class, they wouldn't have that support. So that was our main thing, is like we want them to have the support, but and so that's why we divided up all the math labs to be able for them to be able to do that. So it's not necessarily financial aidness. It's just we want them to always have that support.
Okay, so for the tutoring available online, this is just a list of the online tutoring that's available. So we have the tutoring center still, we have the accounting lab, the Math Center, the RWC. We have embedded tutoring, and that's specifically for our math, our English, and our ESL departments. Now we do have, I'll just leave it at that, but so yes, those are our official embedded tutoring programs, although we have partnered with other departments on campus when there's been a need, and they've reached out and said, I could really benefit from having a tutor support in the classroom. And so we haven't gotten to the point where we have the funds, of course, to open it completely up to the campus. But again, there's been some open dialogue when needed to see if we can take a student that we have as a tutor and sort of help embed them in the classroom when needed. So that has been sort of an option. And then we have NetTutor, which Camille had brought up earlier. NetTutor is our third-party provider, and they are essentially available after hours when most of our tutoring services are closed. And we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. So online tutoring currently is peer-to-peer, one-on-one tutoring and in multiple subjects. And we say multiple subjects because, again, the tutoring center itself provides a variety of subjects. And that tutoring schedule will be posted by the end of next week. Again, like we mentioned, we haven't got schedules from all of our folks. The tutoring center also doesn't open until the second week of class. So it gives us a little bit of time to get that information posted. Unlike the Math Center and the RWC that open up the very first week of class, our tutoring center with the more diversity of subjects, they do not start until the second week to give them time to get settled, us time to get all their schedules posted and everything updated on the websites. I do like to mention that even though it's drop-in only currently, we still have the exception for our DSPS students and our EOPS students. So for those of you familiar on campus, our EOPS, we have EOPS tutors that work in the tutoring center or with tutoring services, and their students can still go through EOPS, schedule appointments where they meet directly with their EOPS tutor when they're scheduled for their drop-in hours. So they still have that ability. Our DSP students, obviously, to work with their accommodation, sometimes a appointment is needed and required, especially when there's other folks involved, translators and things like that. And so if their accommodations do call for it, we definitely still will accommodate for the appointments for those students. Tutors are recommended by faculty, or faculty are engaged in the hiring process of some sort. So any of our tutors that are hired, it's just not just sort of randomly chosen at whim. They are required to submit a letter of recommendation, 2 of them from the departments in which departments in which they help to tutor in. And then just to reiterate again, all of our online tutoring services are going to be conducted via Zoom. So here's our hours. So for the spring, another great change that we've made is sort of extending the hours for all the centers. So you'll see that our tutoring center, accounting lab, and our RWC open at 10 a.m. and then are extending all the way until 8 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday. Fridays 10 to 3 because students aren't showing up on Fridays. They're done and checked out really. So we only do open for a few hours. And now what's new this semester is we're open on Sundays. So if you remember on campus, we were open on Saturdays, right, for students to come in. But with this remote environment, right, we have to change with what students need right now. And students weren't wanting nor needing or desiring tutoring on a Saturday morning or middle of the afternoon on a Saturday. So what we're seeing is that they were really wanting Sunday evening tutoring. We saw it really successful with their ESL department who was open on Sunday. They were doing drop-ins on Sunday evenings. During the survey, they also noted they would like to see Sunday tutoring. So we scrapped Saturday tutoring while we're remote. I can't say this will stay the same when we go back on ground. So on ground, again, it was Saturdays, but for now, while we're remote, we're gonna do Sunday evening tutoring between the hours of 4 and 8 p.m. So we're hoping students really like that option. I remember when I was in college, on the weekends, I waited till Sunday night too to start my homework again. So I understand their request for Sunday evening tutoring. Just one second, I saw something in a chat. Sunday night tutoring is very popular. Oh, okay, great. And Sean, it was your biology, right? Or chemistry? Yes, biology. I think it was.
No, I'm not biology. That's above my pay grade. I'm just a chemist.
Kim, okay, perfect. So great. So now it'll be open to everyone for the Sunday evening tutoring. So we want to talk about the, say it again, Sean.
Eric and Guy was my tutor, and he met exclusively on Sunday, and he had a boatload of kids going.
Yep.
And so I know the Sunday night is a good idea. I just, for the reason you stated, you know, people wait till the last minute to do their homework. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Yep, you're right. So we're thinking it's going to be pretty successful. So I do want to talk about our ways to access the tutors. And so I try my best to explain this as best as I can. So when students enroll directly in HCD 1000, which is the supervised tutoring piece, right? And again, this is our way of collecting apportionment, tracking all those that are utilizing tutoring. Again, it's free, no credit, no units sort of attached to it. But you have to enroll each semester that you utilize tutoring. But what happens when students go directly enrolling in the HCD 1000, there's a lag or a delay for them to see the Canvas shell. And because we're remote, that presents problems, right? We didn't quite have that problem on ground because they could come into the center, we'd help them enroll online and we'd still service them, right? Okay, it's not gonna show up, doesn't matter, sit down and see a student. Well, if they can't view the shell that contains all of the links to access the tutors, of course that's frustrating, right? And we know, right, usually when they come, they're desperate. At this point, they're like, oh shoot, I have this due tomorrow. I need help, or I have this exam. So because there also is that nature of waiting till the last minute, the 24-hour delay caused, of course, was just not convenient for this environment. So we still have that as an option. You get enrolled, you still have access to the shell. It'll just be delayed, we say 24 hours. It happens somewhere in between that 24-hour period. But because it's not instant, we started a second option. So Fong, who's the tutoring and academic support services supervisor, I worked with him where we could sort of create a Canvas shell that we could have students self-enroll into. And that's the second option. So on all of our websites, which I'm going to show you in a minute, there's a link where students can self-enroll in the student and support supervised tutoring Canvas shell. And then what I do with those students is whoever didn't enroll in HCD 1000, right? We put them in there later. So now they have instant access to all of the links and all the information that they need without waiting. And then we obviously put the disclaimer that you will be enrolled in it's the supervised tutoring HCD 1000. And we'll just plug them in there later. We don't have to go through the hassle of, hey, you didn't enroll in HCD 1000, you didn't enroll in HCD 1000. We have admissions folks work with us. They understand. We send them the list and will just batch enroll them all into HCD 1000 later. So now students don't have to worry about it and they can have instant access to the links and the information they need. So I just want to show you, I'll go to one of them, and actually I may have to stop sharing in order for you to see it. Did it transfer over, or are you still looking at my PowerPoint?
Still looking at your PowerPoint.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I thought so. Okay, so let me share this way. So at this point, we've worked to sort of add this link on all of the pages. So you'll see that's the tutoring center. The math center has it now too, as well as our reading and writing center all have that same link posted where students can click that. Oops, that's taking me in the wrong place. Students can click that. Let me drop this down so I can maneuver this. Okay. So they can click this and now all have instant access, or they will be prompted to enroll. I'll show you that first. They'll be prompted to enroll into the Canvas page. And again, it's just really enrolling them to a course. You can see, actually, you probably can't see. Did it not show you? Let me share again. It'll show them this page that asks them to enroll in the course. Okay. And so they'll do this one time, and then after this, it'll just be on their dashboard. I'm already enrolled, so I'm going to the course. And sorry, can you guys let me know if it's following along with me or if I need to stop and reshare again?
Oh,
It's following.
It's
Perfect.
working.
Perfect. Okay. So once they get in here, they're going to have access to the information about all of the departments. So you can see, you know, it says Math Center, there's the link, RWC, link in process, right? And Tutoring Center. So those links are going to be updated later, but this is the link that they're going to use to be able to access anyone from the Math Center, for example, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 9:30 p.m., Fridays, 8 to 3 p.m., and then also Sundays, because we're utilizing our math tutors from the Tutoring Center on those Sunday evenings. So we are going to post some Sunday evening hours on there as well. So this is where they'll ultimately need to come, and then it's all sort of housed right here for them, the links. The tutoring link is going to be a little more complicated, obviously, because there's multiple subjects, multiple tutors. And so we will probably relink them like we did the very first semester we went remote. We're working on relinking them to a website that contains all of those tutor hours, the subjects. They can do a search for the subject they want, a time, and that type of thing, because there's so many subjects associated with the Tutoring Center, and the counting lab will also be included in that link. Any questions here? Excuse me.
Is this information available to the students via their Canvas info link?
So you mean once they're enrolled into the shell, like
well they enroll into my course, right? And in Canvas there's a student services set, and can they access this link through that?
Oh, that's a good question. No, not currently as it stands. So you're saying in Canvas, there's a link where, because I don't have it on my settings, there's a student service. Oh, CRC student services. Gotcha. So you're saying, I actually, that's a great idea. I'm going to write it down. I should have grabbed a pen. Let me take a look at this. I don't know where this goes, but if it's something that I can, oh, it redirects them. So it looks like the student services one redirects them back to the CRC page. Is that correct? Where it shows them all the student services?
Oh, I don't know all the ins and outs of the link. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it redirected it. And so ultimately they can access all this information, yes, from under student resources, under all the tutoring pages. But specifically in your Canvas shell, no, unless you add the information. And at the end of my presentation, I did include a link that I'm going to share with you all, because you can post that link in your Canvas, post it in an announcement, make it a module, however, you know, is easiest for you. But if you share that link, it's a link that's going to link them to enroll in the student services page, where they can see all that information that I just showed you.
That's
so
great.
If you guys don't mind utilizing that, that is one way for them to access it through your classroom. But specifically through your classroom, they won't be able to unless you add that information. It's all on our website.
Now, are all CRC tutoring services available with you, right? There's not other tutoring available that they would go to. Is that correct?
No, just the net tutor is a link for tutoring. And then of course, I think my understanding, there's a couple of smaller departments on campus that may offer some personalized tutoring, but even this semester, we actually partnered with Puente, and we're gonna be doing tutoring for Puente students, but it'll be through the same link. So we're still redirecting everybody to the same spot where Puente students can utilize a Puente tutor during that same link. But from my understanding, this is sort of all the tutoring. Mesa isn't able to operate this semester either. So yes, this is sort of encompassing of all the online tutoring services that we have. So they shouldn't get confused, sort of getting redirected to a bunch of other random places.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any questions about that? So that's all. And again, if you forget or what, just simply send them to the tutoring website, and they can click again, the Reading and Writing Center, the Math Center, the Tutoring Center, the Accounting Center. That button is on each of those websites now. So students can just click it and go right into it, unless they choose to enroll formally, right, in one of the labs. But other than that, if you just send them to go to the tutoring website, tutoring services off of the website, they can find that link on any of the tutoring pages, departments. Okay. All right.
Shoot, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Could I jump in and ask a question?
Yes.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time or not. I just wanted to ask that I teach geology, earth science, oceanography, and it seems often that there aren't tutors available for those subjects. What can I do to make tutoring happen for those subjects?
Yes, great question. So again, so a lot of times our tutors come from faculty recommendations, and hence is why I always put those plugs out where I'm like, we're looking for tutors still. If you have a student, we ask you to send them our way. On our tutoring site, there's a becoming a tutor link that they can access and send in a request that they would like to become a tutor. And then from there, we look at the subject. And if it's a subject that we don't offer, so like for instance, right now, we're not hiring anybody else for math and English, I can tell you that. We're fully loaded, especially because we've joined forces with the Math Center and the RWC. So we don't need math and English, right? But there are other subjects that we don't have, like again, like you mentioned, geology. We are excited. We're interviewing folks tomorrow for nutrition, which is one that I kept sort of throwing out there in the fall. We need a nutrition tutor. And now we have a group of students that we get to interview tomorrow for nutrition. And so if you have folks for geology, please send them our way. Again, as soon as we see it and we know we don't have it and we've been needing it, we immediately contact them and then get them scheduled for an interview, get them the application and that type of thing. So to answer your question, if you have students, please send them our way, or you can send something out to your department saying, if you guys have any students, send them our way, because we'd be happy to have them. Because we had it once and then we lost them and now we have nobody. So
yeah. Can you offer maybe some suggestions for what kind of person might be an ideal tutor? I sort of off the top of my head imagine that I would probably be comfortable with a student who probably got a B or higher.
Exactly.
Instance,
thank you. Yes,
ahead.
exactly. So our requirement is a B or better for them to be a tutor. They have to have taken the course already, pass it with their B or better. And then from there, it's really just faculty recommendation. You have to complete the application. They have to be enrolled in 6 units or more, right? So they have to be a full-time student on campus. But the biggest thing is, yes, they need to have passed that course with a B or better. And again, once the faculty recommendation is in, when we get folks, especially when I get direct emails from faculty saying, the student's awesome, please hire them for tutoring, they're amazing. I mean, it's really just us just doing a formality to have them do the interview. We really ultimately just hire them on when faculty reach out directly, like, you need this person. And so if it's somebody that sort of comes randomly, but we do look at the faculty, as long as they've submitted faculty recommendation forms, or they send me an email or send a letter, unless they just botch the interview, they're hired. So as long as they meet those requirements of a B or better and full-time student. Okay, so quickly about the Math Center, I just wanted to sort of reiterate information about the Math Center RWC. Those centers, again, they not only have IAs, but they have math faculty and student tutors that are available. And again, this is where it's sort of a perk and why we wanted it accessible to the students, because it offers so much. You can, again, enroll in one of the labs, Math 70 through 79. This is a credit or no credit course is what it's referring to, the Math 70 through 79 series. There's a minimum amount of hours that have to be completed, and more of this information can be found on the Math Center website. And there again, drop-in tutoring only. The most exciting part that I want to get to, and Camille, you're welcome to share in this announcement. Spring, there's going to be math workshops. And so the math department and working with the Math Center is offering a new way to sort of support the students. And they want to do workshops that are specifically designed for students that are taking a math class. And so these workshops are free to anyone that's taking a math class. They have a website designated for it. This information can also be found on the Math Center website as well. The first workshop is going to be on Tuesday. So it's right away, Tuesday, January 19th from 10 to 11. And the topic is expectations in a college math class. And so I'll stop here. Camille, if you want to share anything more about this. And
yeah, we there's a couple, there's 3 of us doing these. And we opened it up to all math faculty, but we thought just a better use of our time in terms of helping the students, not just sitting there tutoring, you know, because we'd be highly paid tutors over doing, but that's an option for some faculty are good at that too, or want to do that. But what we saw last semester is students needing help outside of the class for a math class specifically. Like how do I upload my homework if I need to do that? How do I work with Proctorio if I'm going to get use that in my classes? Just some math study skills as well, because math is so different than other courses. And so we thought that that's where our expertise comes in, and we can offer workshops for that. And so I know the first one is that first day of school. But what we're trying to be intentional about is the timing, because the students don't need, you know, what to expect in college math class in the middle of the semester. What they need it actually before the semester, but we thought right away. And then, so I think we've calendared out January, and we have workshops in February as well. And as we progress through the semester, there'll be workshops for, where we're hoping for specific math topics. So, because sometimes for students, it's to be able to offer another faculty's way of teaching that, or other little tips and tricks that they can offer is helpful as well. So this is new. We're hoping that we get a good showing. You know, we had this short window to advertise, but we're hoping that you know, that it'll at least get a good start for this semester, and you know, hopefully maybe do this in the future as well.
Thank you, Camille. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I think it will catch for sure.
Hopefully. So yeah, the general idea is to do an hour, no more than an hour. They won't necessarily be recorded just for privacy and just because it's a kind of a new situation, but maybe the first 45 minutes actual activities or hands-on or you know, presentation, and then a 15-minute Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to try to answer those.
Yeah, I would maybe suggest joining our one of our counseling meetings, Camille, and promoting that, because I think I saw the email and I was super jazzed and excited about it. So thank you. I think it's an incredible thing to get going and implement, and hopefully it gains traction and continues to be a part of our process moving forward. So love it.
Good, thanks. We'll crossing our fingers. We're excited about it. I reached out to all the counselors, you know, the general and then the athletic. I wasn't sure who to do through the athletic department, so I just reached out to you. But all the different outreach to the DSPS, you know, EOPNS, Puente, all of them. I try to do all of them. So hopefully.
Thank you, Camille. Okay. Oh, it's frozen. Okay, there we go. Oh, sorry. And just to note, in case I hadn't mentioned it, so the Math Center is reopening on Monday, January 18th, and that's the same for the Reading and Writing Center. And again, just want to reiterate, if folks want to enroll in those labs, there is the lab series that they can get into for credit, okay? And then same with the Math Center, there's the IAs, the English faculty and student tutoring support provided through these centers.
So Rihanna, by saying it's opening on Monday, Monday is a holiday. So do you mean opening for them to enroll, but not actually?
Is January 18th a holiday?
Yeah. Isn't it Martin Luther King?
I thought that was the following Monday.
No, I'm quite sure.
No, it's this Monday.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was thinking, do I have it wrong?
Oh my gosh. So I have this wrong in a whole bunch of areas. Thank you all, because I thought it was the following Monday.
Okay. You know, previous semesters, it's been that way. We're in school for a week, but I think it all depends on when it happens in January or how much time. So yeah, it's happened to us before where it's the second week, but this time it's the first.
Thank you, because I definitely blasted those dates on everything at this point. All right, so I'll make an update to those later on today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So Tuesday, the 19th is when all these will be, these centers will be opening. Okay. Okay, so quickly, in case you aren't familiar with it, we just wanted to just share about embedded online tutoring. And again, this is where students are placed directly in the classroom to support. They work directly with a designated faculty member. For most of the programs, that faculty member actually handpicks them. And so they let us know who they want to work with, and we make it work as long as they are not a graduated student. If they're a current student still on campus, you pretty much utilize any student that the faculty chooses to be their embedded tutor. The student assistant program, that's ESL and English. So embedded tutoring has two names as it stands. There's the SA program, there's an SI program. So SA is for the ESL and the English, and the SI is for math. They're essentially the same thing. It's all embedded tutoring currently. All ESL courses currently have access to an SA, as well as they offer drop-in tutoring for all ESL classes. And then for English specifically, it is for particular courses as well as math, just because we're currently, again, we don't have the budget to expand it to all. So those are the courses in which it supports currently. This program is awesome, you know, and Maha, she can speak to it, right? She's used an SA or SI for more than one semester now, so she can speak to it. But it really is really helpful to students to just have a tutor right there embedded. They become familiar, they become comfortable utilizing that student, asking for help, you know, and so it has a tremendous amount of benefits, and that's why we hope that we can slowly open it up to more, and why we try to support even when we get those sort of offline requests for support in the classroom. If we have the manpower and the budget to do it, we try to accommodate because we know how beneficial it is.
All of us in math have used the SI tutors because we've gone to some lab courses after AB 705 and the placement being completely different. We have many courses that have lab courses now, so additional support. And oh my God, those SI tutors are amazing. And of course, we pick them. That's the best way that it'll work. But yes, Neil has been involved in that. Min, I'm sure, has had SI tutors. So yeah, for these lab courses, oh my gosh, we can't imagine doing them without an SI. Thank you. Yes, that's a great program.
And I'll also say again, just like all the tutoring, there's a team of folks, right, that this is ran by. And so with embedded tutoring, if you're associated with the English department or ESL or math, you have probably become very familiar with those coordinators who help out with these programs. We have Michael Carney, who's helping out as a coordinator for the embedded tutoring program for math. We have Jenna, who is the coordinator for ESL. And then we have Erica Reeves, who is the coordinator for English. And so they work directly with the faculty for those disciplines. And so, you know, myself and Fong and Anna sort of work on the back ends to help support in various ways, but they keep the communication directly with that faculty. They're right, you know, they're in the know with the faculty. And so we keep it sort of with them being the liaison between those discipline specific faculty and us and working with the students. But there is a team of folks that make this program run and make them happen. So yeah. And then lastly, NetTutor, as we sort of hit on, again, this is our third-party tutoring service. So it is free and it is available to all students. You should have noticed a link on your Canvas page. It should be already, it shouldn't be hidden, so it should already be displayed on your shell. If it is, please take a peek. It should be a link right there that says NetTutor. That's the link that students can use to actually utilize the NetTutor service, but they can only utilize it after hours. And so the way that we have it set up is it's not active before 9 a.m. Excuse me, it's active before 9 a.m. Yes, and after 5 p.m. Because tutoring slows down after 5 p.m., we do have it available Monday through Thursday after 5 p.m. And then before 9 a.m. We do have students that like to get tutoring at midnight. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And so we want to make sure that we have an option for students who cannot sort of meet with one of our tutors during the designated hours that we have. And so on Fridays, again, before 9 a.m. and after 3 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, we have made it available 24/7 just because tutoring is limited on the weekend. Now, it is important to note that students are allotted 10 hours per term per student. And so they can make a request for additional hours, and we do grant those for those students, for instance, that are seeking tutoring support in a subject that we don't offer, right, on campus. And so with those students, I happily will increase their hours. And then we have some students that just become chronically dependent on our tutors, our tutors on campus, our tutors online, our tutors everywhere. Those folks, you know, if I have the capacity, I'll increase them one time. Then after I have to, they have to monitor the usage as far as net tutors concerned. And all the other tutoring services that we offer on campus is unlimited, right? So they can access, if they need help with English, they can chime on 4 times if they want, 5 times a day. It doesn't, there is no limitation on that. But with NetTutor, because we actually pay for a portion of the hour, so NetTutor did partner with the Chancellor's office to provide a small number of free hours. But once we exceed those free hours, we pay for anything in addition to that. Hence is why we have the 10-hour per term, per student sort of cap on it. Any questions about this? Okay, and again, for our faculty members, take a look on your Canvas page and make sure NetTutor is visible. It could be hitting your settings, but I think the way that Pat did it, he made sure that it's actually visible without you actually having to take it and unhide it in your settings. Okay.
Yeah, how do they request additional hours?
They send me an email. So on the NetTutor website, through the tutoring services on the NetTutor website, it directs them to me to send an email to request it. Good question. Okay, so the last slide just talks about ways faculty and staff can engage students in tutoring. As I mentioned at the beginning, right, especially because we're remote, students don't see us, right? It's hard for them to get access to us unless sort of it's in their face. You know, some of them aren't going to go out looking for us, and they should. And so we want to, and I can do so much, right? I can reach out and put postings out and do Blackboard Connects and that type of thing. But really, it takes all of us in order to get the word out to the students. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share this link in the chat, actually, this link right here. If you want to add this link into your Canvas or as an announcement, that would be great. This is the link that will get them direct access into the student and support services or tutoring services shell, the one that I showed you the button for. This is it, not in button form. This is the link, okay, for that button. And so you can post that in your Canvas. We've had faculty members tell us that they do short surveys or quizzes at the start, the first week of class, sort of quizzing them on their knowledge about the online student services. And so if you do something like that, throw tutoring in there so that they, you know, again, even just asking the simple question, did you know that there's free tutoring available to you online, right? And then having just a link to the tutoring services page. I am happy to do class announcements and presentations. And so if you have the time for me to come in and make an announcement, I am happy to do that. So please email me and let me know. It just takes a few minutes to sort of, and really because I focus my intention on making sure they know where that button is, right? I'm not going to do a full presentation, but I ultimately am just ensuring that they know they have all these tutoring services available and how they get to that link to access the information. And then for our math, English, or EOP folks, anyone that's currently using Starfish is another tool. If you want to make a referral, for them to receive tutoring services. You can do that in Starfish. I know Starfish hasn't been opened, I think, campus wide yet, but there are particular departments. You guys could just simply do a referral. And what happens is when you do that referral in Starfish for a student, it comes to us directly sort of into our account. Our clerk checks it daily, and then she reaches out to the student immediately to make sure they're aware of the services and try to get them in for, online for a session with one of our tutors. The other thing that I've seen faculty do is offer a few extra credit points for participating in tutoring services. I can myself or anybody from our team can actually provide proof of it. So if you just let me know, right, if you're a class that's participating in that, the student can let us know. I need proof that I attended tutoring. If they just contact us and let us know that, we can pull it up in our reporting tools in Zoom and then provide them with or email the proof to the faculty member. So that's another way, if you want to throw a little added incentive out there, if you know that your students are really needing or struggling, send them our way and we can provide that proof. So those are just some ideas, and please, anyone else, welcome to share other ways we can engage the students. The last session, we had some great ideas, just about, again, doing postings and using Facebook and doing all these type of things. And so if anybody has any other recommendations about how we can get the word out, please let me know.
Rihanna, I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm a little confused about the HCD 1000. So are students required to enroll in that to access even the free? Suppose they don't need the units or anything. Do they still need to be in HCD 1000?
So to answer your question, all of them ultimately will be placed in it. And that's what I was trying to explain earlier. And I get that it's confusing. So even if they don't directly roll in through e-services, we will place them in it. So when they click that link and they go to student and academic tutoring services, that Canvas shell, right? That's them, permitting HCD 1000, gives a little blurb about HCD 1000. We will ultimately make sure that they're placed in it, even if they don't directly go through e-services. But we tell them you can enroll in it yourself through e-services, but if not, we'll place you in it later, but we don't want the hiccup of the 24-hour lag, right, for them to get to a tutor. So everybody has to be placed in HCD 1000 at some point in order for us to collect apportionment. If not, they can't be counted at the end of the semester when I submit the reports for apportionment.
Okay.
So yes, I do have to add them in there, but just to bypass the difficulties, again, because the remote thing, making sure they get enrolled, it's just been challenging. So we tried to have sort of like a workaround so that students didn't have to, right away, and wait 24 hours. But yes, they all will ultimately be placed in HCD 1000. It doesn't show up on their transcript or anything, but they'll be placed in it in order for us to collect apportionment and do the reporting tools.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions or comments? That was the end. I think my next slide was just comments, questions.
Rihanna, were you going to give us that link in the chat?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, I will do that right now.
I just sent my rosters to admissions also.
Oh, you did for athletes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So whether they use it or not, they're in the class.
Right.
They're eligible to get it.
Right.
That's a good idea. Just put them all in there.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
They're nice enough to, I don't know how much of a lift that is for them. They might just be copy and paste and you're in. I don't know. But
okay, so you guys, oh, sorry, go ahead, Matthew.
I was just going to say, from a counselor's view here, we obviously know that most subjects are included, economics, business, some business, science, math, all that. But the different types of subjects, like Professor Jackson's, kind of geology or geography, things like that, that diversifying the tutor group would be amazing. Art history. I mean, if you have an exceptional student, let's get them going. Let's Rihanna just said that basically if they don't bomb the interview, they're hired. So it's a great way for students to make money right now and support other students. And it's also a life experience that they can, and grow through and put on a resume as well. So I think for those very, those kind of different subjects that aren't always covered in tutoring, diversifying would be huge. So I'm always looking for like a physics tutor, stuff like that.
And we have one. So I am happy to announce we do have a physics tutor. So they're still working through the paperwork. We have someone for physics. Again, tomorrow we're interviewing for nutrition. So we're really excited about that. And there's a couple of other new subjects. We have a communication and a tutor. There's a couple more unique ones that we just hired on. And y'all know that this hiring process is slow for the district. So we started this in December before winter break, and they all haven't been processed yet. But we're crossing our fingers that by the second week, they will all be ready to go. That still gives us some time. And then I am gonna send in an email that sort of highlights some of our new subjects, and yet again encourage that we get some of these other, less or more unique subjects in there. So yep, absolutely right. And again, that's where you guys play a role. If you just have a good student, send them our way. Thank you, Camille. Okay, any other questions or comments? Anybody
I just
want
wanted to say thank you, Rihanna, for holding this. I know for me, it was my first time joining and it was very informative. So thank you so much. I hope everyone has a good semester.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Rihanna.
I'll shoot that link in an email as well. So that link that I shared with you guys in the chat, I'll also put that in the email that I send campus-wide again to encourage our faculty and staff to include those in their Canvas announcements.
Thank you. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. It was so
Absolutely.
informative.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have her. She's amazing.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Rihanna, did you mention that it's the second week that we'll know the schedule for individual subjects?
Yes, for those individual ones, it'll be the second week. Math and RWC, those are our priority right now for this week. Those are all getting posted as we're going. So those will all be live and ready to go by Monday, right? Because they kick off Monday. So everything's getting updated for those. But for the tutoring center, yes, those will be posted probably at the end of next week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Rihanna, did you mention art? Did you just say art?
And we do have an art history. Yes, we have an art history tutor.
You do. Wonderful.
We do.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Yes.
Okay.
I teach at Delta College, but on both campuses, students definitely could use some help. It's always essay writing. They're so intimidated by it, and
yes,
I take baby steps with them.
Right.
At the start of the course, getting them to use materials and put it in their writing. But that's wonderful news.
Yep.
So I would like to, it'd be great to have you do a presentation in my classes. I would like to do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's perfect. Can you shoot me an email and just let me know what times and days your class meets, and I'll get one added on my calendar.
Okay, I will do that. Yes.
Okay.
It was very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Camille.
Bye.
Thank you for always your input and everything. Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.